Welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for being here today. My name is Chuck, KK6USY, and this is Ham Radio Adventures. Now, I'm also part of Coffee and Ham Radios. We stream at 9 a.m. Central every Saturday and Sunday. The guys that do this with me are Jim from FEP Labs Radio, Tio, that's Steve from Trip Early Offline, and the Smokin' Ape. And you should join us some morning. I think you'll like it. And today what I'm going to do is show you our new antenna kit. At Coffee and Ham Radios, we like to bring antenna kits for every ham so that you can make your own antennas yourself. The kit comes complete with everything needed to make the antenna. And the cool thing about it is you can make it your own by changing the design to a point that you like to have it. If you look at our videos, Ape and I did totally different builds, same antenna. Now, antennas are one of the few things that hams can still do easily to improve their radio system. And that's another reason we like to have kits, and we source all the parts for you so you don't have to. After a lot of R&D and hours of testing, Coffee and Ham Radios brought you our first antenna, and that was called the Artemis. The Artemis is an in-fed half-wave, 49:1. And the biggest difference in it between most different other 49:1s is our winder. And that winder is the base for all of our antennas in the future, hopefully. We'll see how it works. Today we're going to try it. And like I said before, we source all the parts for you. A lot of times you have to buy 5 or 6 or 10 or 20 of the parts. And in our kit, you'll get what you need for the kit. And during the process of making the Artemis frame for the base for most of our antennas, I came up with a way of putting the antenna lead through the end of the it comes out the center. I'll show you a picture of this close up as I'm talking here. And some of the feedback we're getting is some of the people are having a hard time with that. Now, I will say that we have listened to, and this new winder will debut on our new antenna that I'm talking about today. And what we have done is that we increased the hole size so you can push that wire through. I actually tried it the other day for the first time. I just took the wire, put a little bend in it, boom, pushed it through. I'll probably show that to you also. And it goes right in. But if for some reason you think it's too hard, just drop it out the bottom. It will do the same function, whether it goes through the end or just out the bottom. So that's up to you. And like I said, it's your build, build it the way you want to. Now, I will have to say, the old winder was nice, but this new winder is pretty ham sexy. Now, the one I'm doing today is a prototype. It won't be the material that we use. It's expensive to buy these things and have them printed the way we're having it printed with the nylon. So we do experiments, and usually I do a lot of the experimenting because I have a printer and Ape has a printer, so he can print stuff out. And that's how we do our prototypes. That was the main reason. There was a couple things that we found from our people that built them for us. We sent a few out for like Mike K8MRD, and we listened to a lot of the stuff he said because he builds a lot of antennas. So shout out to Mike there. Mike has a great POTA channel. If you guys ever love to watch POTA, Mike does the best at it, okay? Okay, that's enough about the Artemis. You guys probably pretty much know about it already. Now, our new antenna that Coffee and Ham Radio is coming out is a linked dipole. I'm gonna show it to you today. Like I said, it's all in the prototype stages. I won't give any specs out today really because, to tell you the truth, I'm building it with you guys today. And when you do receive this kit, we are going to give you measurements that are going to get you pretty close to the ballpark. You watch our videos where it's tuned, and from that you can add or subtract some wire, and your build will probably come out pretty good if you do everything that we say on how you sign it up. You know, when you set up you don't want to set up your inverted V like this. It wants to be 90 degrees or a little bit more. And what we'll do is we'll measure out the guying line that guides the end of the antennas out, and it'll be the same every time, guys. That's the way you get your antenna tuned. You tune it the way you're going to set it up. Now, this antenna will be set up for a 10-meter pole, but only about 20 feet. And I'll show you how that works also. The reason for that is, unlike an in-fed half-wave, you have more weight at the top. You don't want to put this at the top of your 10-meter pole because you're probably going to break it. And I may or may not have broken a 10-meter pole once in my lifetime. Okay. Now, this linked dipole will have a 1-to-1 balun on it. I'm not going to wind that today in today's video. That'll be a build video later on that we'll do that for all you guys, and all of us will do a build for you. So if my way doesn't work, maybe Ape's does, maybe Tio's does, maybe Jim's does, okay? So you pick your way. And like I said, this antenna, because you're building it yourself, is your antenna. You build it the way you want it finished. We're just going to supply you the parts. What we're going to do is the kit will consist of, and I'll show you right now what's in the kit. And it's pretty set already, but it may change a little bit. Okay, so when we do sell this antenna, it will come with full instructions on how to build it. You'll see that I did a 14 wind for my 1-to-1. Now I may actually bring it a little bit down into the FT8 area, or you guys can do that yourself by making it just a little bit longer than I would for my general. I don't do a lot of FT8, but for the general band, I usually bring it up a little bit, somewhere in the middle of the general, but you might want to make it just a little bit longer and drop it down into the FT8 if FT8 is important to you. And we will do full testing, and we'll try to give you the specs on what you can safely run in this antenna. And we usually run it just a little below, especially on FT8, of what it can actually do. You know, watch your SWR, guys. So let's go into the shack, and I'm going to show you the parts that come with it. We're going to do some building. I'm going to talk about dressing your knots so they look nice and look professional, guys. This is I'll tell you what, this the winder is very professional looking. It's not just a printed thing that you can print yourself. It comes out really nice. So, you know, dress your knots, and I'll show you how that does. And it's just a couple little knots in this whole thing, so not a big type. And remember, this is just a prototype. Just because I say something comes with it today, it may change down the road, okay? But we will give you a video later on when it's more complete. So let's go into the shack, let's look this thing over, and let's do a little bit of the build. I'll cut the wire, then hopefully today or tomorrow I can get out and do some tuning. All right, let me show you what we're gonna send in the kit. And this is, like I said, this is, for now, this is what we've got planned. So you'll get 2 pieces of magnet wire, a toroid. Now these are little small banana plugs. Right here, if you see at the very top here, I have one that's undone, and then you'll get 6 of those. So this antenna is going to be for 3 bands. Now, if you can always do more bands if you want, or less bands if you want. It's up to you. Like I said, this is your antenna. You build it the way you like it. Okay, we're going to get 2 screws, nuts, and washers, and you'll see where that goes in just a little bit. You're going to get your B and C kit, just like last time. You're going to get 2 sets. These 2 will go for your toroid wire that comes off your magnet. You'll see that in a second. And then the 2 for your actual antenna wires for your dipole. Probably get 2 wire ties. These are probably not the right ones because they're probably just a little small. And at this point, we're going to give 7, I call them S-beaners. One will be for the top to hook it to your mast. And then you have 2 sets of links and then 2 at the end. If we can, I'm going to try and make sure, because I'm going to send these out, that you get 2 different colors, like black and green or black and orange. And I would suggest you take the second color, because there'll only be 1 of those, put that at the end of your antenna when you wind it up. That way you'll know where the end of your antenna wire is, okay? Sometimes it gets confusing if you haven't used it for a while. So that's what we're going to get. Now, you're going to get a roll of wire. It'll probably just be coiled up. I did it this way to make it easier for myself today. I'm going to cut this in a few minutes, and we'll get back to the video. My intentions are we're going to do another one of these. It's a Velcro strap. Like the ones we did before, they have like a little piece of plastic on it, a little nicer than these. People really like those, so I think we're going to stick with it. It costs a little bit more, but you know, it just seems to be a more quality kit that way. Now, like I told you guys, I'm not going to wind this on screen today, but later in the once we start releasing this, we'll do build videos and we'll show you how to wind it. But here's the new winder. Like I said, I did 14 turns. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, this is where your wires are going to go, and we are going to make some changes in this winder to just make it work on multiple antennas like I told you before. This actually is not where it's supposed to be. It should be up here more, but I didn't have the room, and we're going to move these up here someplace. This will be a little bit different because I'm going to do it a little bit differently, but this is the way our joints are going to be. Our joints are going to be, they're probably going to hang like this at the top here, okay? And I'm going to give you measurements for this little part so they all look the same. Like, remember I told you guys, I want you to dress your knots. We're not going to use the heat shrink here. It doesn't work as good as the knot. And you're going to make sure that you take your knots and you dress them so they look nice. But when you want to change to the next band, basically you're either going to have this together like this, or you're going to pull it apart. These work really good. They're pretty light. A lot of people will use the little alligator clips. I like these better. They're a little bit less bulky. They won't get caught on things as much, and they seem to stay together better to me. And that's my opinion. All right, guys, so what I'm doing also, just so I keep things straight, if you see this says 10, so that's for 10 meter. This is for 10 meters. So the reason I do that is because 10 and 20 are really close to the same size, and you don't want to get them mixed up, okay? So make sure you mark your wires as you cut them. All right. Okay, we're going to start with the 10 meter section of wire. I'm going to pull these off. If you don't pull that all the way off like that, you can kind of twist it nice, guys. Okay. Let me just go ahead and get the other one while I'm at it. All right. All right, throw this on here. So let's just see here. Yeah, it looks like we're warm. And just because I'm putting this on the top doesn't mean that's the right way to do it, but I will make sure that it sucks into the connector, guys. I'll pull it up in here. Oops. So I can see it pulling into the fitting there. I'll probably fast forward through some of this, guys. I want to get the testing done too on film. And I want to keep the video not too awful long. See it sucking that crack back there. So you know it's going in. All right. Okay, so I just wanted to mention here that these bolts actually will thread in from the back side, and they'll stay in there so they don't come out. Just don't get them too tight, and then hold it with a screwdriver when you do tighten these nuts down tight. It threads in, but it's not like you're going into real threads. Okay. Now I'm going to measure the end of this. We're going to go down 3.5 inches. So I'm going to measure that on my board here, which is, I found that this board is actually kind of nice for doing stuff like this. So I'm going to go 3.5 inches. I'm going to mark it if I can read it right. Now, the 3.5 inches is not something that's super important. All I'm trying to do is make your antenna look the same on each joint, so it looks like you bought it. Okay, now it's down here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend it over from there up. Okay. And I'm just going to make a loop. And now we're just going to make a loop in the end of this. And this is where I said you guys will want to clean up your knots when you get there. I don't want to make this loop too big, but I'm going to do like Mr. Ape does. I don't have a happy pencil, but I have a pencil. And I'm going to use the pencil for the approximate size of the knot. That way we're keeping them all kind of the same, guys. Okay. Okay, let's see how our knot looks. See, it's not right. This, if you look right here, this needs to go over to the other side. Okay. So I got my size. So let me take this. I'm going to push that knot, that wire over to the other side there. And now see how this, everything, it looks nice and uniform. Okay. So we're just going to tighten that up like that. All right. Okay, so now this will be our first link right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to put this on here. And for now, we are not going to put the banana plugs on now. We're going to put those on later. And the length that I give you for this should be pretty good. Don't go out and just cut your links off of the dipole, or figure it out, or a dipole calculator, because you'll find out that 10 will be pretty good, 40 will be good, but 20 is totally wrong. Okay, at least it was for me, and I know a few other people. But what we will do is we're gonna clip these before we go out and tune. So let me just do that for you. I'm going to do a few of these, and then I'm going to do everything else later. But we're going to do that. And so all we're going to do when we're out there is we're going to take this wire and attach it underneath to the wire for the 20-meter leg, okay? So this works pretty good, guys. This knot's a little bit better than I used heat shrink before. I didn't like it after I did it because it wanted to slip a little bit, and I didn't want it slipping. These clips are pretty cool because, I don't know if you guys can see, but they have like a little hook. Even if you don't get it clipped, it won't pull off real easy. So, and then those banana plugs, I don't know if you guys saw it, but we're going to strengthen that joint with some heat shrink, okay? And I don't know the size of this heat shrink, so we're still looking at that to get the right size for you guys. There's your 10 meter. There's your legs. Like I told you guys, this is an experiment. I'm going to try and get it to where you cut everything. What you're going to do is you're going to cut your first wire, and then what I do to make sure my wires are the exact same length, I'll take the two wires and I'll run them through my fingers and I'll just pull it, right? And make it exactly the same length after I cut the first one. Make the second one exactly the same. Mark it with whichever meter, if it's a 10-meter wire, make sure you mark it. Because like I said, the 10 and 20 are pretty close to the same size. Not identical, but really close that you wouldn't be able to tell without measuring again. And what I usually do, I also try to make sure that when I put these on, they're in the same direction. So they're not twisted, but okay, so not like that one's towards the other one. This one's kind of towards this one. So what I'll do now to go out and tune it is I'll take these two wires, twist them together, and I'll probably put a little piece of tape over them just to hold them. So when they're pulled, there's no real strain on that joint there. You see? It's just hanging free, and then when you pull it loose, it just hangs there. And I usually when I pull them loose, I usually kind of pull them away from each other just so they don't touch in the wind up top. This is something else we fixed on these new winders. It was in the original winders that we made before, and somewhere in the process it got deleted and didn't get put back. The little flat edges. This one actually has two flat edges. It holds the BNC pretty good. I still usually, what I do is I put one of these on, just a fitting, and put it on there to hold it while I'm tightening it. All right. So all we have left to do now is the leg for 40, and this thing's ready to go out and test it out. Okay guys, I'm at the local soccer park with quick test of the antenna. I have my figures, I cut everything to it, and we're just going to go through it. We're going to check the CW part of the band and the middle part of the band and the upper band. And then we'll see, we're going to see if we can get 15 too. Hopefully that will be close enough, at least if nothing else you can tune it. So let me get everything set up. I brought my AA30 Rig Expert, got the antenna, just about my backpack there. Now I like to use these. These are tied, well, one's a Tide bottle, one's a different kind, same thing. A little heavier duty than the milk cartons I used to use. I ended up having those same spring leaks. Plus just a little bit heavier. And that's really good for testing, believe me, because you can move things in and out really easy versus stakes. I've got my 10-meter pole, which is set up for about 21 feet. Got my stake, my hammer, and my coax. So let me set this thing up and we'll see how it checks out. I have the antenna set up. Here it is going up. Somewhere around 20 feet. I have never really measured it. And if you look just below the coax, where I hooked it up, I got tape there, and then I have tape there. I like to tape two places. That first one I think is important. It kind of takes all the stress off of the winder itself. And then they all come down into my bottles. That's a Tide bottle. Then on the other side, that's what we got set up. Now I'm going to set up the AA30, and we are going to check bands. We're going to start with 10, going to work our way up to 40, and hopefully I remember to test 15 also. All right, let me get things set up. Okay, so at 28.075, somewhere in the CW band, we are 1.7, and that band for general starts at 100. So let's just check that out. Still 1.8. So it's good enough to work, guys. Usually about 400. That's where people are usually on. So let's just go there real quick. Okay, so at 400, it's 1.49. So I'm going to do a sweep here. Let's see what our sweep looks like. Okay, so 1.49 right there. And it gets a little better as we go up the band. So let's go up the band. This is faster this way. This is a big band, guys. This is 28,650. 1.36. Do another sweep. Still getting a little better. Look at this. This is pretty dang good. Let me get the whole band here. So I'm going to sweep over to the side again. 28,900. Hit SWR. 1.35. Let's go to a 14.02. 5. Sorry. Okay, let's just check our SWR there. 1.3, guys. So that's the bottom of the CW there. Let's go to, let's just go to 225. 1.18, that's the beginning of the general. So let's just go to the top of the band. 14350, and just see what it is there. 1.36. So this thing's pretty cut right in the middle, it looks like. Let me go back. Let me go to, let's see, 14250. And we'll do a scan there, guys, just to give you an idea what the scan looks like. So it's just a little below that at the lowest SWR. I'm super happy with it. I mean, this is great. I mean, it's down around 100, so that's good. All right, let me turn this off. We're going to set up 40 now. 7025. So 2.3. Let's go to 250. 1.16. Now 1.43. I'm going to go back to 250. And we'll do a sweep. Doesn't look like it changed it much there, though. Oh, no, it didn't. I don't think it changed it much there. I'm not sure if that's exactly where I did it before. Still good, guys. Let's see. Let's just go down to where it is here. I think I did do that. We'll do that. 7.215, 1.04. Okay, one more test. We are at 7.215. Now, I told you guys that everything needs to be built the same each time. I'm going to show you what happens when you drop the legs. The end of my 40 meter, it's about 6 foot in the air right now. So let's just show you what happens. Say I use shorter paracord to go more straight up and down. I'm going to pull these things in to where probably about a foot off the ground. Let's watch the difference in the SWR. It's 1.04, 1.03. I'll probably bring it in to about a foot. You may see a little bit of difference for a while until I get both done and while I'm touching it and stuff like that. So let's just see what it does. Okay, that's one leg about a foot off the ground. Forgot I could talk to you guys while I'm doing this. And that's pretty much about a foot off the ground there too. Let's just see what it says now. So I went to 1.35. At the bottom of the band, we were a little, this is the way you can tune these things while you're out if you have to, guys. Let's just go to the bottom. Well, let's hit a graph here and see what it looks like. So it looks like that brought it up. And you notice it's not as low either. 1.25 or about where it was. Still looks almost a low point, but it brought a little bit higher. KK6USY. Hey, can you guys hear me this morning? I'm only running 10 watts on the 705 with the dipole again. Said I'm only running 10 watts today from the dipole, same place as yesterday, just testing again. I messed up my audio yesterday.
Okay, well, your Q5 is about an S4, not bad.
S4, 10 watts. Hopefully you guys heard that. Okay, well, I just heard you guys in there and just wanted to see if I could get you. I'll let you guys get back to the discussion of the day and I'll continue testing. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed the video today. I think we all may have learned a little bit, a few things like moving those legs, how that changes your SWR sometimes, and that could be a trick for you to get your antenna tuned while you're in the field. You know, as long as you have something that you can measure it with, and usually your radio will do that. Now, by the time this video comes out, we will be really close to releasing this antenna. We'll probably do a release of 50 like we did last time on the Artemis. And between now and then, though, I'm going to get the Smoking Ape, Jim, and T.O. all to build their own with my measurements. We're going to see if it holds true to different areas. And during that time, I will also take this thing out and test it myself in different areas around me. I will say that most of the time I have pretty good luck at my house. I think the ground in this area is pretty good for radio. So. Okay, well, hit that subscribe button if you're new here. Hit the bell, hit all. That way you'll get all my future videos. And go ahead, while you're at it, hit that like down there. KK6USY for Ham Radio Adventures. 73 all, be safe, and I hope to catch you on the airwaves, and maybe it's on a new car antenna.